The guns we have given you or assigned to you, see Mandazi, use them. If you see anyone near any police station, shoot them and take their bodies to the mortuary. What a sad statement. Mark you, this is a statement that comes from an officer who serves in one of the highest organs, decision-making organ of the country, the cabinet of the national government. And he's not just any cabinet secretary. He is the cabinet secretary in charge of the interior and coordination of the national government. And specifically, the CS under whose docket security falls. The CS responsible for policies that govern the security sector of this nation. Do you really expect Kenyans to be to abide by the law if the government itself is encouraging lawlessness? How do you encourage police officers to shoot and kill if anyone goes near a police station? Or how do you think the police will react? Because hours later in Nyandarua somewhere, an OCS shot a man who was among demonstrators who were demonstrating against the loss of cattle to cattle rustlers and thieves. How do you expect the police will react? How do you expect they will? What do you think they will do to the common mwananchi if you give them a green light to kill? There are laid down exceptions in the law that allow the police to use lethal force. One of them being if their life is threatened. Two, if the life of the members of the public is threatened. But you cannot tell them that if anyone goes near a police station, they must be shot dead. Those words must never come out of the mouth of a CS. Those words must never come out of the mouth of a leader. I mean, are you happy when Kenyans are killed by the police? We must be realistic. At a time tensions are running high, at a time Kenyans are angry, emotions are running high against the government of the day, you come out and tell the police to shoot and kill. This is not the conduct that we want to see among our state officers. It is this very arrogance that began the protests to begin with. It is this disregard of life that began the protests to begin with. It is this disregard of the law that began the protests to begin with. It is these condescending attitudes of government and state officers, civil servants towards Kenyans who put these governments in place that began the protests to begin with. It is that bad attitude that is seen in that CS Murkomen that began the protests and the agitation we have today. Mr. President, rein in your CS for interior. And as far as some of us are concerned, he's not even qualified to hold that docket. And I think we need a law in this country to ban civilians from holding those dockets. These are too sensitive dockets. We need security experts in the department, in the Department of Interior, because we cannot continue with this. The country cannot function and the country cannot work if we have people in high offices uttering such dangerous words. This must come to an end. The condescending attitude against us must come to an end. The disregard of our lives must come to an end. We must respect the right to life. We must respect the right to picket. We must respect the right to a fair hearing. We must respect the right to someone being taken through the due process. And we must respect the right of Kenyans to choose and to have and harbor ideas. You cannot stop rights that are enshrined in the Constitution by giving illegal orders and saying that we will even close media stations if it is necessary. On whose authority? Your power is derived from the very document you sought to uphold the day you were sworn in. And you're not above that document. We may not be able to hold you to account right now because those who are your bosses are your friends. or come from your own tribe. But a day will come in this country, and those very words you uttered yesterday, those very words you uttered today that are so dangerous to the peace and stability of this nation, you will be made to answer to. You will be made to take responsibility of those very words. A time is coming that this country will change, that the systems of this country will work, and we will bring them all to justice.